Hey, I'm Joel Cameron. Thanks for checking out my first ever drum tuning video. Like I said in the video where I was explaining my mic setup, I am using a Jecklin disc here, which you will be listening to this stereo pair of mics to mimic the sound of sitting here with me while I'm doing this. This is a 6.5-inch metal shell 10 lug snare drum. I'm going to do just a basic tuning. All the heads are really flat right now. I'm going to do a basic approach to tuning, and it would be good when I'm done. It'll be good for like rock tunes, things like that. I may do other videos on other types of tunings. If you have any ideas about types of tunings that you'd like to see, certain sounds that you want to get, let me know and I'll see what I can do. Also, since I did mention the little mic there, the little sheep looking thing, he kind of needs a name, don't you think? So if you have a name for him, I'd like to know, so let me know. Okay, snare drum. I generally start with the bottom because the bottom, regardless of how I tune the drum, the bottom relatively, remains the same. I had to pick up my key. And that is pretty tight. So what I'm going to do first is just finger tighten all of these key rods here. And my right hand is stronger than my left. So by the time I get them tightened, I have to go all the way around and make sure that my right tightens them all too. Basically, I'm trying to make sure that the head, there's a little bit of floating room back and forth to situate a head. I'm trying to just keep it more or less centered. And you can see just by looking at the spacing of the edge of the drum to the inside of the rim. And I just want to get these as tight as I can with just my fingers, so that I'm at a fairly even starting point. And then, so already some tension you can feel. Now I'm just going to take it up and I'll go about a half turn, 180 degree turn at a time. Start at one lug, any lug, go across, and then skip a lug. And go across, skip a lug, go across, skip a lug, go across, skip a lug, go across, and I believe that was 10 right there. So this is a 10 lug drum. The bottom head, unlike the top head, the bottom head doesn't resonate like a regular tom head because it's got these snare beds. It's hard to see on a Ludwig metal shell drum. You're not going to be able to see it, but every snare drum has where the snares lay across, the bearing edge actually dips in a little bit. That stops the head from resonating the way you would typically expect a drum head to resonate. So I don't spend too much time trying to get it to resonate where I can hear pitches, because it's not going to give you that quite the same way. I go more or less off feel, and I just want to feel pretty much a lot of resistance, a lot of tension. So I'm going to go around again, another half turn the whole way. Pick a lug, go across, skip a lug, go across, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You might notice that I'm going a little beyond 180 degrees on some of these because as the hoop is coming down, being tensioned, it's sort of loosening practically, in a practical sense. It's loosening the other lugs. So to get them back where they were, you kind of got to go a little further. But you'll feel it. But get it pretty tight, and then I'll go again, another set. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's feeling pretty tight, but I'm going to go a little bit more still. So 1, 2, 3, just about a quarter turn. Now, why do I want this so tight? I want the bottom head so tight because if you don't, and I could demonstrate what it sounds like not to have it. I'm not going to right now. But if you don't have it tight, the snare response is not going to be crisp. This is a very thin head, and then these little wires, these snares, have to vibrate across it. And to get a clear, crisp response, this head just has to be really tight. That's basically the deal. We'll leave it there for now. Going to the top. These are all loose. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'll go ahead and put it back in my lap to do this. Same thing, making sure the head's more or less centered as I tighten these. Finger tighten, finger tighten. I also, when I finger tighten 180 degrees apart, because I don't want to finger tighten 2 here and then 2 here, because you're basically going to be tightening down the hoop in a circle, and I'd rather tighten them down 180 degrees apart so that the hoop stays fairly balanced and even on the bearing edge of the drum. So once I've got it finger tight, pick up my key again, and you won't have to go nearly as tight with the top head. In fact, the whole 180 degree turn on every lug is going to probably put you close to where you're getting a really good drum sound. Okay, so you saw that one was loose after I'd started tightening these, so you have to go a little beyond 180 degrees. And again, you can feel it. You can feel the tension in the turn. How many was that? Doesn't matter. Let's listen real quick. Drumsticks, drumsticks. Gotta grab drumsticks. Oh, here they are. Cool. I put my finger in the middle. And don't press on it, because you'll change the pitch of the drum, but just hold it. So that one's low. These are low. So I'll just bring the low ones up. Always finish your tuning with a positive turn. And then just kind of keep tweaking the ones that are a little too low. These still are. And it doesn't take much. I'm not doing big turns. So these two. Okay, so there's a little bit there. But that's pretty much tuned to a good mid-range. It's a good starting point. You can go higher if you want it to crack more. You can go lower if you want it to be fatter. But that is a good snare drum sound. While I'm thinking about the snares, because they're rattling, I want to point out a common mistake a lot of people make on snare drums. They take the snare, I've got a tension screw over here. They make them tight, 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 tight. Where at lower dynamics, you actually hear that it's actually choking the drum. I like to loosen it till it just starts to get a little too relaxed. Then you're going to have good, crisp response at all dynamic levels, but it's going to sound like a snare drum too, as opposed to sounding like a tom-tom with something sort of rattling on the bottom. That's a good sounding snare drum for starting. I'm not using any muffling or anything at this point. So now let me move a mic over onto it so we can get the idea of what that snare drum would sound like through microphones. So that's a good quick start to tuning snare drums. Now there are other techniques, and like I say, you can use different heads. By the way, this head's a Heavens G14. It's just a single ply coated, thick single ply head coated. Pretty standard. I like to use them on a lot of my snare drums. But that's it. Pretty straightforward tuning for a drum that could be used for a lot of applications. So there you go. Thanks for watching this video. I appreciate it.